Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double understood elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, this meme right here, it says a lot. All right, and this just exposes, the lying serpent nature of those rats over there. I'm talking about Amalek. The fact that, war is being kicked off is based on the propaganda that's been coming from this devil in particular. They've been pushing for regime change for quite some time. And the overall scare, the fear mongering was that Persia, their days or weeks away from a nuclear weapon. And they've been talking like this for nearly 30 years now. Damn near 30 years ago, they were real close to making a nuclear bomb. 20 plus years ago, they're days away from making a nuclear bomb. Ten plus years ago, they're days away from making a nuclear bomb. So as they were carrying on with this narrative, they was trying to basically plant, these ideas in your mind that going to war would be justified. So they have to design a narrative and create atrocity propaganda to feel free to go to war. And now, everything is coming out. And every single day, new information gets presented and these devils get exposed. They're getting chopped down on these different podcasts and these different journalists coming on these YouTube platforms. And they're just straight up blazing these rats up, with information, true information. Because everything is one-sided when, all the media is controlled by one entity. But when you listen to controlled media, this is what you get. Constant propaganda, the same, narrative, being spinned, every single day. So this meme right here, it says a lot. This is what they've been known to do. So let me get a quick scripture. This is Psalms. It's like, I think it's Psalms, was it 52? It is Psalms 52 and 2. It says, "Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness, Salah. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue." And that, and that's them. They don't know how to speak truth. They don't know how to speak righteousness because it's not in them. And they're the problem with the earth right now as we speak. Everything that's going wrong in the earth, you better believe they have a hand in it. And what's going on over there in the so-called Middle East, They're the main culprit. They're the agents of chaos, if you will, that's, sparking, all the conflict. They're pretty much the cancer. That long disease, the book of Sirach, the 10th chapter, speaks of. And they've been, lying, with a straight face. This man, he can't help himself. He gets on, television, broadcasting live, and he'll just lie. And it's very cringing when you listen to him. So right now they're getting chewed up. The world is they're getting sick and tired. And there's a lot of shameful spewing upon them. So they like to channel all this criticism, and they like to narrow it down to anti-Semitism, because you can't critique them, you can't say one word badly against them without them trying to feel victimized, play victim. So, this is their time to get exposed right before the Lord, takes them out. All right. This is the man of sin the Bible speaks of. And, like this particular narrative, right, about the whole nuclear bomb thing, this, propaganda that they have been pushing for quite some time. This is all part of the programming. What they like to do is they like to corroborate some type of story or narrative, and because they have control of the press, they can have the control of, mass media, they can actually circulate the narrative for time, for periods of time, to where when people are consuming it, it gets lodged into their psyche. So they've been lodging this in the people's psyche that, those people over there, they creating a nuclear bomb. They're dangerous. Same thing with weapons of mass destruction. Same thing with chemical weapons in Syria. So they will use these narratives, and then before you know it, they go right in for the kill. Now, this is no different than the whole Holocaust thing, right? If you didn't know, they have been basically putting the narrative and create the story about, 6 million small hats, going through a very terrorizing event, things that was going to happen. Basically, they was putting out this atrocity propaganda way before it even so-called happened. Now, allegedly, the so-called event took place in 1945, but yet they had the propaganda, the narrative, they had it already in the press way before it, decades before it even took place. This is the exact same tactic with this whole nuclear bomb scenario, the nuclear bomb propaganda. All right. So it's the same thing that they did with the printing press, the newspapers. We're going to throw this, we're going to circulate this information, and people are going to read it, because this was before social media. This was before, television. If you wanted to get any kind of news, you had to read it in the paper. So they was doing their predictive programming in the papers. So I'm not going to play this whole video. I'll probably play like maybe the first 5 minutes, but you'll be able to see that they, this is what they've been doing since they got into power. This is what they do. So let me run this back.
between the years of 1915. Okay, he has 10 newspapers where these Jews are pushing us 6 million figure between the years of 1915 and 1938. The first newspaper is The Sun of New York. New York, June the 6th, 1915. That is The Sun. It's the first page of the 5th section that I want. And there we go. The Sun, it's a bit ripped along there, so it'll come off a bit.
So this is 30 years before this so-called event, right? This is 30 years prior.
The 5th section is the front page. And the article is called Horrors Worse than Kishinev, Charged Against Russia Today. And there's the big article. Takes up most of the page. So go in. Yeah. Go. Since the destruction of the temple in...
So I'm going to pause it so you can see it, all right? And here's the propaganda there. They're already programming the masses through putting this in there. And you're going to see throughout several issues throughout the years, throughout different media press, you know, the Sun, New York Times, etc. The same narrative kept on showing up in these different issues. Why were they doing that? Hey, going back to the beginning, showing you the spirit of the serpent. He was more subtle than any beast of the field. And that subtlety goes back to basically divination, you know, craft, witchcraft, being good with deception. So this was, you know, part of those tactics. They did it through the papers before there was a television, social media. All right. So you see it. The narrative was already carved out. And they was planting this in the people's heads 30 years before it happened. So just like that devil, all right, BB, he's creating this narrative and he's basically lodging it in your head. All right, the last 30 years that these people are coming up with some plot to shoot a nuclear bomb on them. And now here we are. Which is perfect because, you know, this is what's going to basically bring an end to this whole man's system. All right. So let me forward it a little bit. Let's get to the next one. Because he's going to go to the next issue. So the next one, New York Times, October of 1918. Just look at this, man. Just like I'm sure, like that meme, you can go to different footage of BB or Satan Yahoo from various years with the same talking points, with the same propaganda. All right. So this is what they do.
This is the next newspaper. This is New York Times again. It's from 1918. There it is. The New York Times. October the 18th, 1918. It's page 12 that I want. There we go. Page 12. Page 12. The New York Times, October the 18th, 1918, and the article is called $1 billion fund to rebuild Jewry. There it is.
And then you see it. 6 million souls will need help to resume normal life when war is ended. This is all predictive programming before the initial event. So this is the type of control that they have. This is the type of witchcraft, deception that they do upon the masses of the people. And you wonder why we say that these people are the devil, man. I don't even think I need to go any further. This video is 22 minutes. All right. But they'll yell anti-Sem at you for pointing this out. So they wonder why all the nations are coming against them. All right, Obadiah, verse 2. And it says, behold, I have made thee smaller among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And you becoming more despised because your lies are figuring you out. And people are seeing it. So nobody likes you, nobody trusts you, nobody can agree with you. Because this is just part of your nature. All right. It speaks to the character of Amalek. They're not designed to be honest, to have honesty, character, integrity. I believe there's a scripture that says a person that's a thief is better than a person that is accustomed to lie. Let me see if I can find that. I think it might be in Sirach 40, was it 2? Yeah, let me go to 41. Let me just do it. Let me search it. But I know it says that a thief is even better than someone who's accustomed to lie. Yep. Sirach 20. I don't know why I thought it was in the 40s. Yeah, Sirach 20 and 24 says, a lie is a foul blot in a man, yet it is continually in the mouth of the untaught. A thief is better than a man that is accustomed to lie, but they both shall have destruction to heritage. The disposition of a liar is dishonorable, and his shame is ever with him. And nobody likes a very deceitful, disingenuous person. You don't want to. You can't trust them. You can't trust them with information. You can't trust them with anything. So when you watch their media and know that it's actually controlled, they don't give you everything. They give you one side. Why should you believe them? And then when these journalists come on these platforms and debate them, all they can really do is just, hurl insults and talk down at you, speak in circles, deny your sources or whatever it is that you say, to prove your point. I was watching that Piers Morgan show when he had that Egyptian comedian Bassem Youssef, and then you had the other dude. He was a damn small hat, and every time he spoke, man, I got so agitated. He just made me mad just by hearing his voice. And the comedian, he was just he was speaking nothing but gems, man. He was dropping gems, you know. And the dude, all he can really do is just pop off at the mouth, you know. Yeah, he said you don't debate liars, you diagnose them, you know, because they you got a real issue. But that's all them devils, man. They're straight up liars, and that's why you're not to believe nothing that comes out of their lips, even when they speak fear. They said the scriptures say when they speak fear, believe it not, for there are 7 abominations in their heart. So everything that they do is you know is diabolical, because they don't have it, you know, in their spirit to do what's right. All right. I want to see what that's saying in a Good News translation. Hold up. It is Sirach 20 and 15. It says, he isn't generous with anything but criticism, which he will shout for all the world to hear. If he lends you some today, he will. Let me jump down. Here we go. Verse 24 says, lying is an ugly blot on a person's character, but ignorant people do it all the time. A thief is better than a habitual liar. And small hats, they're habitual liars. And it's crazy because you'll have some of them that'll actually tell the truth about their own people out of guilt. You know? You got some of them that have a bit of character that'll actually expose a lot of the lies that they learn, you know, coming up under their religion, you know, in their culture, and even the history that they lied about. It says, but both are headed for ruin. A liar has no honor. He lives in constant disgrace. And that's why he's getting nothing but disgrace. Shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. You know, that foreskin is being exposed. So more of this type of stuff is going to continue to come out, man. All right. And don't think that the world is with you in this war, this back and forth that's happening over there. All right. You're being made small and greatly despised, because your iniquity is being disclosed. This is Proverbs 12 and was it 19? Let me read it in the NLT. And it says, truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. Deceit fills hearts that are plotting evil. And that's what they do before they, you know, roll out their plan. They plot the evil, you know, and they fill with deceit. Their hearts devise wicked imagination because, you know, they're the border of wickedness. Right? It says joy fills hearts that are planning peace. So this is all part of the man being revealed, the man of sin. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And we're in that time right now where he's being uncovered. And that's the reason why he has to crash out and move fast with his agenda. Because he's losing the plot already. Is that who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And they try to sit themselves in that position, but the Lord is reminding them that they're just men. All right, they're base men who's been lifted up, because the Lord rules in the kingdom of men. So, with all this wickedness in the earth and them being in power, they're getting ready to be held accountable. All right. And they think because, America is backing them, well, America, we already know what America's fate is going to be. Is going to get the worst judgment known to man. So to have that country, that kingdom backing you, that's not a good look. So, yeah, Esau, he's being cornered right now, but he's still proud and arrogant. He has that attitude, who shall bring us down to the ground. But as it says in Proverbs, before the fall of a man, the heart is haughty. So we're going to see. But, when I saw this meme, it made me think back to that situation. How there was, they came up with a narrative. They came up with this propaganda, and they were just constantly feeding it to the masses. This is how they deceive you and get into your head. And then they can carry out their agenda, once the seed is already planted. All right. Same thing with 9/11. They was putting it through predictive programming in the cartoons and the movies. And then before you know it, 9/11 happens, and then now you got to watch for every towel hit. This is what they do. But now it's this magic trick is wearing off. They did this with the sleight of hand, but now their hand is being shown. So, they're losing esteem and they're losing influence because nobody's believing mainstream media anymore. You gotta, go to the journalists that are not biased, and it's no wonder why they be having these journalists put to death. They don't want any journalists covering the Gaza situation. And then now that they in this war with Iran, they're attacking buildings where they know that there are journalists that's covering, these different things. So some of these guys that are reporting from the other side about what's going on, some of them, they're going to end up getting put to death. I already see it. Because the more that information that comes out, the more it makes them look bad. It just constantly exposes them. So, just this meme alone sparked me to do a lesson, just to go into it. But yeah, man. Hey, may the Most High Yah Basham Yahweh Shai, put the spirit on them Persians to keep that fire on you, man. Keep hitting you with more and more and more fire. All right. And with that, I'm gonna give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yah Basham Yahweh Shai. Until the next lesson, Shalom.